In this video, you will learn how to create the What Time Is It program. My name is Ashley. I'm one of the co-founders of csnmath.org. At CSN Math, our goal is to create coding opportunities within the math classroom that allow students to enhance not only their computer science skills, but of course their math understanding. Let's get started. So you'll notice here on the bottom right, what I've done is I've gotten rid of my scratchy cat by hitting the X, and I've uploaded from online a picture of an analog clock here. And I've changed its size to make it large. I've aimed to put it in the middle, but it's going to be crucial that my clock is in the very center. So I can do this by dragging out the green flag and saying go to 0, 0, as that will be the center of my screen. So even if my clock was slightly off-centered and I hit this green flag, now we'll notice it's centered. The next thing we need to do is come in here and create some hands for our clock. So I'm going to try and draw these. This will be my minute hand. And we'll fill this in, we'll say with black here. And as we see on this screen, I'm going to try and center this as nicely as I can, kind of in the position that I'm hoping it to be. So a little bit closer, super, that looks good. And I'm going to come in here and create another. And I'm going to change the color of this one just so I can kind of see where it is, but we want it to be a little bit shorter. And we'll fill this one in. And again, we want to center this as best we can here as we start our program. So these finicky steps can be done by the teacher ahead of time rather than by the students in the teacher's discretion on how they think their students would do with some of this setup. The kids sometimes love this visual piece. Alright, super. So just like we did here on our clock, we need our hands, our minute and our hour hands, to be not only in the center, but facing upward to start. So if we see here, point in direction 90, that indicates that these are pointing upward. The next thing that we need is we want for the entire program, we want our hands to go to the center, to 0, 0. And I notice here as I run this, it's going to go slightly off kilter. So I want to come back to my costumes and I want to center this where I want it. So I'll come back here a little bit further. Super, that looks pretty good. And we'll come back to my code so that when I hit this, 0, 0 is where I want it. The other thing we want to do is we want our, first off, our sprite to go to the front. So it's in front of the analog piece and we want it to show throughout the whole program. And I want the same set of code on my hour hand, so I'm going to duplicate this and put it down in my backpack. So when I come out here, I can drag the same code into here. Now notice same thing as I run this. My hour hand was slightly off the center, so I'm going to come back to costumes and drag this where I want it, which is, great, that looks good. Alright, wonderful. Now we're ready to add some code. So again, up until this point, if you feel you want to set up your program for your students, that could be helpful and a pretty big time saver here. Alright, so the next thing we need to figure out is we are going to start with our minute hand, and we want to figure out how many degrees do I have to turn in order to hit this first minute. So I'm going to come out here and do a little bit of guess and check. We'll just start with 1 degree, and we'll turn here. We'll see that that's much too small. I'm going to recenter, and we'll try 6 degrees. And notice this is perfect. So we want to keep this in mind. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to point in direction 90, and we're going to attach this to a block in a bit, so just hang onto this onto the side. And we need to create some variables here. So if you hit make a variable, we need to create 3 variables. We need minute, hour, and time. I've added a score variable here that's optional. So when I've created, we're starting with our minutes. I want to choose a minute randomly from the number of minutes on our clock, and we're going to call 0 and 60 the same. So we'll go from 0 and to 59. Now when that minute is chosen, we want my hand to face that minute. So in order to do that, we need this scale factor of 6 here. So we are going to turn 6 times, now for my minute that came out was 1, it should do 6 times 1, but my minute could be anything since it's random, so I'm going to do 6 times my minute to give me that good scale factor. Now we'll hang tight to this and we'll leave this be, and we'll come back to this part of our code here. Now let's come over to our hour hand and we're going to do something similar. We're going to start by pointing in the direction of 90, and we need to play with this scale factor, but this should be a little bit easier because if 6 degrees gives us 1 minute, 5 minutes gives us an hour, so we can figure out that our scale factor will be 30 in this case. So the first thing is we want to set our hour to something random, and we want our random hour to go anywhere from, we'll say in this case, 1 to 12 here. We'll call 12 and 0 the same thing. Then, similar to our minute hand, we're going to turn, in this case our scale factor is 30 to give us 1 hour, and we're going to drag out our hour, whatever comes out for hour. Super. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is come down here and we're going to create a button. We'll make it kind of small here, we'll put something a little bit brighter. And we're going to call this button, there we go. We're going to call this button, we'll just say new time. And let's get this to be a different color. We'll just go black. Alright, super, and we'll drag this onto our button. So when this button is clicked, what we want to happen is these clock hands to randomly turn to their new kind of position here in this case. So what we want to do is now let's come back over to code, and we want to use the event block that says when this sprite is clicked. So as soon as I click this button, I want these hands to change. So the first thing I'm going to do, and this is called a broadcast, is I'm going to broadcast a message that says new time. Okay, so as soon as this broadcast happens, what it looks for is this block here that says when I receive new time, that message, this should happen. So we'll see here, we want this to lead our hands changing, because now notice if I come back here, I'm broadcasting that message, and every time I click here, we will see that my hands are going to a new time. And we can see there's a little bit of a center in my hands here. Of course, it's a visual piece, I should fix this, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to leave it. So that's what's happening now. Now what we want is we want this variable time, and we're going to set the time to whatever hour was randomly chosen and whatever minute was randomly chosen. And we have to think about how we would type in a time. We would use a colon to separate the hour and the minute. So we're actually going to use this join block, which allows us to join the variable hour, this colon that the user will type in, and the minute. We're going to set this equal to the time here. Now, as soon as this program is run, let's say here's where we are. The next step we want to do is we want to ask the user, what time is it? And whatever they type in is going to be stored in this answer block. So we've got a couple situations. We've got either, we want control. We have if the time that they type in here is equal to the time that was randomly generated. Then we would say that their answer is correct. So we'll say if their answer equals the time that was randomly generated here. We would say, we'd give them a message that maybe says, you are correct. But if their answer is not equal to that time, which is where this else comes in, we would say, oops, try again, click for a new time, which indicates they did not get this piece correct. Alright, let's try out our program. The first thing I'm going to do is just maybe move this down here so we can read what it's saying better. Hit stop and we'll start our program. Alright, so what time is it? It looks like it's 1:42, and it tells us here we are correct. Now let's try for a new time. I'll just do something incorrect. We'll say 6:30. Oops, try again. Click for a new time. So you'll see our program is working here correctly. Best of luck as you put this together yourself, and reminder, if your setup is a little bit tricky, you believe, for your students, it is a-okay to do this on your own, and students can remix your project and still get the value of all this code. Good luck!